Hey guys, so for this video I'm going to assume that you are already somewhat familiar with Sabre. I'm not going to attempt to explain the rules first because that's frustratingly hard. I'm just going to go through some examples of a few decisions from a random recent bout, and hopefully even if you had no prior understanding of Sabre refereeing, I hope that it should be able to give you a little idea of how stuff works. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first touch in my opinion is a fairly clear decision, but nevertheless Madrigal asks for a video review. Now Madrigal might feel that he is the one who has taken the initiative here. He's covered more ground, so he might think that he has attacked first. However, if we look at the slow motion, we can see that Su actually hits him on his preparation. What is preparation? Well, preparation is stuff you do before you attack. An attack involves moving the blade towards the opponent in order to hit. But here Madrigal is definitely not doing that. He is holding his blade back, and you can see that Su extends his arm and lunges and hits Madrigal as he is holding his hand back. So we call this an attack on prep. Additionally, Madrigal hits his opponent not with his blade, but with his guard, which is not allowed because it can be dangerous. So after seeing this, the referee, Laura Decker, shows him a yellow card. It's kind of funny because he would have gotten away with it had he not made a video appeal. This one is a bit more tricky to see, but if we pause here, it should be fairly clear. Both fencers before attacking make a preparation step. However, Madrigal finishes his prep way before his opponent, so he launches his attack first. By the time Su starts his lunge to attack, Madrigal's attack is already established, making Su's action a counterattack. Attack has priority over counterattack, so Madrigal wins the touch. Then we have a one light action. That's nice and easy for the referee. If it's one light, you just give the point to the person with the light. This is a two light action, but it's fairly clear who won the touch. Madrigal attacks, Su parries the attack and then hits him back with a riposte. Now Madrigal has a second go at his opponent and hits him with what we call a remise, but riposte has priority over remise, so that's a fairly straightforward decision. Then we have another one light action. This one is a bit more subtle, but I think it's a good call. Both fencers attack with a step lunge, but Madrigal starts a little bit quicker. He commits a bit more to the attack and Su might be waiting just a little bit, so here we can again make the call of attack, counterattack. On this one, Madrigal clearly initiates an attack, but he makes a big swing first. If you swing and you miss, then we call that attack no. This gives Su a chance to launch his own attack, but instead Su swings, probably trying to find Madrigal's blade. The ref interprets that as another attack no, now giving Madrigal a chance to land a second attack, which he does. I think it's worth pointing out the referee's clear hand signals that clearly show what her call is. Refereeing can be pretty subjective, but regardless of the final call, it's important that the reasoning is clear, and this is why we have hand signals that can concisely describe what the referee saw. This call I'm really not too sure about. In my opinion, this could be given as simultaneous. To me, both fencers make a preparation step and then lunge pretty much at the same time. But Laura Decker, the referee, sees something extra that I don't and gives a point to the Spaniard. I think this is a good example of how Sabre refereeing is pretty subjective. But I think Su is a really good role model here. It's easy to get frustrated when the tight calls go against you, but he stays completely calm and really doesn't let it disrupt him at all. Now, I've never claimed to be a great referee, so I'd like to know your thoughts on this one. Maybe it is actually a clear call and I just don't see it. Let me know in the comments what you think. This one's another close one, but it's a bit more clear. You can see Madrigal puts his finger up. You see this fairly often. It basically means, yeah, it's his point. This one is subtle and paradoxically, yeah, that's hard to say. It's more clear in normal time than in slow-mo, but Madrigal appears to be holding back just a little bit, like he wants to hedge his bets a bit. Su, on the other hand, looks a bit more committed, so he gets a touch. So here Madrigal uses point in line. It's kind of a special case that is fairly straightforward to understand, but it's often misunderstood. Point in line is established by extending the arm and threatening the opponent's target area with the point of the sabre, just like this. If the line is established before the opponent's attack, then the line has priority over the attack. In order for the attacker to take priority, they must first deflect the opponent's blade, breaking the line with a beat. Here, Su attempts to deflect the blade, but Madrigal evades the beat with a derobement and then hits with his point. Su lands his attack, but the line was unbroken, so still has priority. Now, some of you I'm sure will have noticed that for a brief moment, Madrigal's point drops down towards Su's leg, and you could argue that this means that the line is broken because it isn't continuously threatening the opponent's valid target. This is another example where ultimately refereeing is subjective. Personally, I think it's better to give some leeway to allow the point to stray off target within reason, because I think the attack is already overpowered, and being a bit more lenient with line makes the game more balanced. But I'm sure plenty of people will disagree. Again, this is what makes explaining Sabre really hard, because there is often a big discrepancy between the written rules and how they are actually applied.
You break the line. So it starts to break the line. No.
This is why it's a good idea to watch plenty of high-level fencing to stay up to date with what kind of calls are being made. I'll put a link to the full match in the description. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, please take a look at the Slice of Sabre Patreon. It really helps me out, and you'll get access to some exclusive videos and bonus material from the new Slice of Sabre podcast.